What's that street? Northbound on Eastern, just crossing Bandini. That's exactly right, Marla, Bob. This started in the Bell Gardens area about a half an hour ago, and that's essentially where we are now. Bell Gardens, the lead agency on this pursuit, which has made its way down the 710 freeway through the communities of Compton and Paramount, now on surface streets. He just made a left or westbound turn from Eastern Avenue onto Bandini. 2 occupants, we believe, inside this U-Haul pickup truck. Unclear on how much gas it had when they allegedly stole this from a location that we're not sure of at this point. But 2 occupants believed to be inside this U-Haul truck. And the truck, at least from what we've seen the last couple of minutes, not going too quickly. It's not a high-speed pursuit at this time. And even when it was on the freeway, we heard that he was going at speeds of anywhere between 60 and 70 miles an hour. Again, in Bell Gardens, into the community of Bell, he'll be approaching the 710 freeway now at Atlantic Bandini. A very busy area. Looks like he's veering to the left here, perhaps trying to make a move around all this congestion. This is an industrial area of the basin here off of the 710 freeway on Bandini. He's at a stop now because traffic is at a stop, and that's a Bell Gardens police unit there. Again, they are the lead agency. When we say a lead agency, Bob and Marla, that's the agency that essentially first picked the pursuit up, and it looks like he may be picking up a ramp or a cutaway here right off the 710 freeway. Slow speed relatively. He's slowing down quite a bit. He's not driving too dramatically quick as we track him northbound now on this major adjacent to the 710. Again, 2 occupants, allegedly a stolen vehicle here.
Slow speed, but nonetheless still dangerous here. We are getting reports that throughout this pursuit, again, that started in Bell Gardens, that the person driving went on and off some sidewalks, also went through some intersections illegally, so definitely a dangerous situation for drivers there. And there are also reports that it appeared that at one point the driver of this vehicle, U-Haul, slowed to a stop. It appeared to try to dump something. We still don't know what that may be right now. But on and off the 710 freeway in a residential area, which also causes or poses some danger to people there on the ground.
And Rick, it says something for sure when he makes his way back to Bell Gardens, going on and off the 710, goes surface streets on the freeway, but still it seems as if he knows this area.
That's exactly right, and we saw that yesterday with the pursuit that we covered, that the suspect of that vehicle was traveling in an area that he was familiar with, and he ended up at his house. And sure enough, the driver of this allegedly stolen U-Haul pickup truck staying in an area he might be familiar with. Because Bell Gardens is a lead agency, we believe that's where the alleged auto theft occurred here. And he is slowing down a little bit at each intersection. We haven't seen him bust through any red lights or stop signs at high rates of speeds yet, but as you guys indicated, he has been driving rather dangerously and erratically during the pursuit here. Again, this pursuit made its way down the 710 freeway from Bell Gardens into Paramount and Compton. That made its way off of the 710 freeway at Atlantic. He made his way east and west on Rosecrans, back up to the north where the pursuit started. You can see CHP and other officers positioning themselves in advance of where this pursuit is. A number of units trailing him, an LA County Sheriff's helicopter watching every move overhead. And when we say every move, they do keep track of every vehicle infraction. Crossing now over the 5 freeway here, that overpass there, heading up towards the East Los Angeles area now, Bob and Marla.
So we can see the black and whites, as you pointed out, several of them, Bell Gardens PD, the lead agency. What are you hearing about CHP? I heard that that agency is now getting involved as well.
No question, and whenever the pursuit enters the freeways, they are made aware, and they will help out however they can, even halting traffic, prohibiting traffic from getting on and off the freeway as the pursuits make their way east and westbound on the freeways, or north and south in this case, which was the 710 freeways. Staying kind of to the right here, and again, not a high rate of speed, generally 35, 45 miles an hour, making a northbound run here. I'm going to try to get you an exact location here in just a moment. We'll see a street sign here for you, but he had a couple of options to get back on the 710 and the 5 freeway, and he is choosing to stay on surface streets, now approaching the East Los Angeles area.
Okay, we can only glean that perhaps this driver knows this area or perhaps knows people in this area. Again, it appeared at one point that the driver somehow made a slow to a stop or pause for just a moment and possibly grabbed something from someone onto the street here. From what police are telling us, there are two people inside this U-Haul, so two people, a driver and a passenger, and that the driver may be a female here. And again, we believe this might be a stolen U-Haul truck, or at least those are the last reports here, but seems to be circling this area near the Bell Gardens area, near Commerce, off the 710 freeway, again, on and off the freeway.
And now into East LA, eastbound at Atlantic, just passing Goodridge now. And you can count the units behind. Again, the lead unit, Bell Gardens, because we believe that's where this alleged auto theft occurred. This U-Haul pickup truck. And as you see on the advertisement, $19.95 an hour. Too pricey, obviously, if it is true that the occupants of this vehicle took off in this car without paying. And again, from what location, it's unclear. It may have been a U-Haul yard, or it may have been a different location where this vehicle ended up after being rented. Again, more of a slow-speed pursuit now. He's driving rather cautiously, perhaps communicating with someone at this time. We often see that. The drivers have cell phones and are talking to friends, relatives, maybe looking for a quick escape. And in doing so, again, they do try to stay in areas that they are familiar with. But he's made his way, or she, a couple miles to the north now of where this pursuit started in Bell Gardens, and is continuing in an eastward direction now on Atlantic, coming away from where the 5 and the 710 meet.
And it looks like the bed of the truck is certainly not empty. It appears to be perhaps some luggage. Any word on the contents?
Yeah, unclear at this time. And again, those contents may have been from the individuals who legally rented the vehicle. That's unclear at this time as well. Again, eastbound on Atlantic, coming out of East LA. The last major was Goodridge. And driving 30 miles an hour, perhaps, coming up on another intersection. And he doesn't have a stoplight here. Or actually, he does, but it was green there. But really slowing it down. And again, we did hear he was traveling at a higher rate, or she was traveling at a higher rate of speed down the 710 freeway from Bell Gardens down into Paramount and Compton, exiting the freeway at Atlantic. The two occupants made their way both east and westbound on Rosecrans, and then back to the north on Garfield, back into Bell Gardens, and then picked up Eastern and now Atlantic, and taking Atlantic eastbound out of East LA, now heading into the community of Montebello.
So let's talk a little bit more about the strategy here, Rick, because as you
just
said...
Just something else. Spike strip was just deployed, we believe, and we did see some debris shoot from the side. At first I thought that may have been some debris that one of the occupants threw out the window, but hey, that was something else if they were able to get ahead. That is a benefit of the agencies. When the pursuits slow down, they are able to get ahead of it and perhaps throw that strip out, especially if the individuals being pursued stay on a major thoroughfare like this, like Atlantic, for some time. They can get ahead of it, throw that strip out, and we are hearing that the right front tire is disabled. We'll try to get on that side of the vehicle and check it out, and perhaps that's why we are seeing reduced speeds as well. We're getting a better look inside the car here. You can see slightly tinted windows. There's the luggage that you had mentioned, Marla, in the bed of the truck. Again, it's unclear if those bags belong to the individuals who allegedly stole the pickup truck or to the people who legally rented it.
It seems that the car has been impaired just a bit. So you think the right driver's side front wheel?
That's what we're hearing on the scanner. Our assignment desk is tracking this as well. They're hearing the police traffic, the police scanner traffic from Bell Gardens, from the LA County Sheriff's Department. And again, the LA County Sheriff's Department is helping out with a helicopter. So we'll push in a little bit here more and see exactly if we can find out if we can see the average of the time.
We're getting a good look, and
it does look like the right front tire is pretty much stripped at this point. There you see it. You see that the pieces of the rubber now, and you probably have the wheel well that is
almost
pretty much
down
right
to the
onto
rim
the
there.
road.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
At this point, Rick, then it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, we've seen these go, believe it or not. Usually that's the case, but we've seen these go at times, these pursuits, where they're driving on the rim and the sparks are coming up off the tire. We'll see how long this one can go. And again, it's unclear. This pursuit now has been going close to 40 minutes, and unclear on how much gasoline it had in the tank when the two individuals allegedly lifted this truck from the community of Bell Gardens. And Bell Gardens continues to be the lead agency on this. So badly damaged front right tire there. You could see on our picture here. This U-Haul truck allegedly stolen in Bell Gardens and moving at a really slow pace now, and likely because that front right tire is disabled.
And we're hearing a female driver. She's not alone. 2 people inside this reportedly stolen U-Haul pickup truck there. Currently in Montebello, Rick?
Yeah, coming out of Montebello now, southbound, still in the community of Montebello, back towards the 5 freeway. And again, even though this car is disabled, they feel that they may have a better handle on it. She's not going to be able to make her way 80, 90 miles an hour down surface streets or freeways anymore. You just don't know who you're dealing with, and that's the situation that these officers have to deal with constantly. Anybody who's as brazen to steal anything, including a vehicle down below here, they may be armed, they may be very dangerous, they could be felons. That's unclear at this time, but they don't know what they're dealing with, and in so they have to play this out cautiously. And you can see all the units trailing a suspect, female driver and a male occupant passenger, 2 inside the cab of this pickup truck allegedly stolen. And this big rig was almost going to make a left turn in front of him, but he thought otherwise. An industrial area here, making a southbound trek back down towards the 5 freeway. We'll try to get you a better location here coming out of Montebello towards the 5.
Now, Bob had mentioned strategy. Obviously, the spike strip worked to some degree by disabling the truck somewhat. At this point, what is the best strategy?
Well, now that the vehicle is moving at such a slow rate of speed, and it is on surface streets, and if they find a surface street where the volume is relatively light, they can try to do a pit maneuver. That would be real easy at this point, especially with a pickup truck like this. Just knock the back end of it, spin it out, and make it, disable it even more and make it face the wrong way, and then officers can approach. But again, that's dangerous. Every move is dangerous here because you just don't know who you're dealing with. The suspects down below there, if they're armed, how dangerous they are, and if they're willing to run from police, they're willing to do much more serious crimes as well. So this is a situation right here. You can see the wide open volume. There's not much in the way of foot traffic here. This is an industrial area. We're not seeing any schools nearby. If they're able to pull off that pit maneuver, this might be a location where they can do it. They've been very successful with that spike strip, deploying it on a surface street and disabling that right front tire.
No doubt, just a matter of time before we see some sparks here coming from the rim of that disabled U-Haul now on the right front side. That we know that the tire has now been blown out by a spike strip here, and lots of police units there in pursuit of this, and continues on a very slow pace here. So, because there's no immediate danger to the cars around, it does look like the strategy here for the police officers there is to stay back and wait to see how this all pans up. We're coming up on 11:45 right now, and we want to let you know this is an early edition of the Fox 11 News at noon as we continue to follow this police pursuit that began in the city of Bell Gardens. Just about an hour ago, 2 people inside this, what is believed to be a stolen U-Haul, a pickup truck, a female driver, and a male passenger. It's gone through several different cities off the 710 freeway, and now the driver in this disabled U-Haul pickup continues to lead police on this pursuit.
And heading northbound now on Telegraph by the Commerce Casino, coming up by the Commerce Outlets. We all know this neighborhood very well, adjacent to the 5 freeway. He's at a light now, a lot of congestion. She's trying to make her way through this interchange. Telegraph parallels Interstate 5 on the east side of the freeway. In fact, a lot of people take this as an alternate to the very busy Golden State Freeway. So heading northbound on the 5, right on the border now of Pico Rivera and Downey, heading north into Commerce here. So you could see very slow speeds, again, likely because of that tire being disabled. She had the opportunity to hop on the 5 there. She chose not to, but she's continuing northbound on the 5 here, heading into Commerce here, up back towards East LA and the 710. Now let's look to see if that other front tire is disabled. It doesn't appear to be so at this time, but it's just that front right tire that is almost down to the rim. The other 3 tires look to be intact at this time. Window partially rolled down there. What's going through the minds of the suspects, the female driver and the male occupant, that's unclear at this time. But they run because they can. They don't want to go to jail, and they feel that there is a chance that they can get away.
And some do.
statistics show that about 18% do. A lot of those, however, are able to get away because LAPD will pull back because of the danger to the public. Well, widen out, and here it is. Here's the commerce outlets coming up the Citadel here, the big bow and the Christmas tree still there as we come out of the holiday season. We push back down to Telegraph Road down below here in Commerce. This pursuit moving at a much slower pace than it was earlier because of the fact that that front right tire was disabled by that spike strip.
It's interesting to me that at this point, even at this rate of speed, because you already know you have one tire that's blown out, that the officers don't decide at some point here when you have a clear open road to do some sort of a pit maneuver here. It is a bigger vehicle, so that could pose a little bit of a challenge as well.
Yeah, no question. They could get one of their SUVs up here and just tap one of the back ends of the truck bed and spin it out. We've seen those pit maneuvers, but definitely a heavier vehicle. It's not a light compact car that would easily spin in the event of a successful pit maneuver. We'll widen out a little bit, see what she's going to do here. Still traveling northbound on Telegraph Road by the Citadel, the Commerce Casino. There's options to get back on the 5 freeway. I think she's choosing not to, at least at this point, being that the car is so disabled. You can see people coming out in the parking lot there, checking it out. There's an LA County fire paramedic parked off to the right shoulder, and we are seeing police units. Again, now that this pursuit is moving at such a slower rate of speed, Bob and Marla, that really gives the upper hand to officers because they can position up ahead. They can plan accordingly. They're not dealing with a dramatic high-speed pursuit, an erratic driver at this time because this vehicle is just disabled. Looks like she's going to make an eastbound turn here, and we'll get a better look now of that right front tire and how badly down to there. That's what I'm talking about right there. See, they can keep going. You think that sometimes up they're going to be done, but not the case. You can see some sparks, a little smoke flying up there, but just the one tire is disabled at this time. And she's continuing on her merry way in this 1995 an hour U-Haul truck allegedly stolen out of the community of Bell Gardens.
Well, in Bell Gardens earlier, we were seeing that this was just much more of an industrial area. It looks like this is more of a business area where she is currently. Are homes coming up?
Not nearby. This is an industrial area. In fact, there's a FedEx facility right down below here. She's making her way eastbound. And at this point, I think that she's just doing whatever she can to stay away from being arrested and evading police at this time. But this is moving at a snail's pace now compared to some speeds we heard earlier. More people coming out to check out the scene, video what's going on, which is not a good idea. Again, you just don't know what you're dealing with. We've seen dramatic situations like this in the past, Bob and Marla, where the suspects, knowing that their car has been disabled, they jump out and then they try to carjack another vehicle, and that meaning that they're armed or they use bodily blunt force to get the driver of another vehicle out so they can pick up a pursuit in a car that's got 4 good tires and perhaps a full tank of gasoline. Not seeing that at this time. She's just making her way eastbound now, coming out of Commerce now, back towards Montebello, now making a left or northbound turn on a surface street here. So it's going to be interesting. She's going to be running out of options here, and in these neighborhoods there are a lot of dead ends, and a dead end in a situation like this would likely mean a dead end to the pursuit as well, being that this vehicle is so disabled. The maneuverability has been compromised somewhat as well. You can see now there's a kind of a mixed area down below, a couple of homes, apartment buildings mixed in with some industrial facilities and commerce as well. Northbound on this surface street, and you can see some people out there checking it out again, moving maybe at 15 miles an hour up this small surface street northbound coming into Montebello.
So 15 miles an hour, definitely a very, very slow pace here. I mean, if there can be some sort of a silver lining to this pursuit, we can say that it is at a slower speed here, so it poses less of a danger to people on the roadway. But no doubt, I mean, even there, not even slowing to any stops through intersections, and again, reports that this pursuit had gone onto sidewalks as well. So definitely when you have this large caravan of police officers following this suspected stolen U-Haul, it's no doubt a danger to people on the roadways. Again, stay away from this if you spot this or it comes near you here. But again, we can at least draw some conclusions here that it's at least a little bit safer than some of the other pursuits we've seen when they've been at a really high rate of speed, when they've been a lot more unpredictable than this.
That's right. And coming off Olympic, that was a major that she was on with her male occupant eastbound, and now
but
again
now into a
northbound
residential
on a
area.
surface street. Back into a residential area. People are coming out to check this out. We've publicized these pursuits so much in the media, and people like to get a close-up look if they do make their way through their neighborhood. Well, she actually did make her way across that stop sign without stopping, so that is another infraction that she can be written up for if officers choose to do so. But she's dealing with failure to yield, essentially running from police, the law. She's facing a bunch of charges, including allegedly stealing that U-Haul.
So we're mentioning the female driver, but Rick, she's not alone. A male passenger reportedly inside with her.
Yeah, exactly right. We've been saying 2 occupants, female driver, a male passenger there. That's what we're hearing at this point. And again, this U-Haul truck allegedly stolen in the community of Bell Gardens. Even able to make a left, but look, she leaves that mark behind, that little scrape in the asphalt there. That's because she's down to the rims. Kids out on their bikes. Not all schools are back in session. There's a little dangerous situation right there. Making a quick right onto Whittier Boulevard there, and you could see an individual in a wheelchair there, a mobilized wheelchair there, making her way across the intersection. And some construction coming up. This stretch of roadway is down to just 1 lane in each direction here. Eastbound, though, is her direction at this point. Back towards the East LA, Monterey Park, Montebello area now here in Southern California. Again, she's had several options to get back on the freeway since we've picked this pursuit up, and she has chosen to stay on surface streets. Again, a lot of that now, I believe, is because that front right tire is so disabled. Down to the rim of this U-Haul pickup truck.
So I'm sorry, Marla. This may come as no surprise to you, Rick, but there are some reports here from the scanner that they believe that this female driver may actually be driving under the influence, maybe under the influence of some sort of substance here. So no surprise that,
Not at
she
all.
may be acting very irrationally
Erratically.
here and not stopping for police.
And when they do stop, as we've seen so many times, that doesn't necessarily mean the situation comes to an end. The pursuit may stop, the vehicle may stop. A lot of times the suspect or suspects choose not to get out. They choose not to do what officers tell them to do, and then it turns into a barricade situation inside the vehicle. And we'll see what happens here, but whenever you're dealing with someone who allegedly is under the influence, you could see all those LA County Sheriff's deputies down below. They're helping out. The CHP was helping out, in addition to the lead agency, the Bell Gardens Police Department. Now heading right back, there you go, the sign says it, back into Montebello.
So LA County has airship up, keeping track of this. Let's talk strategy again, because this has been going on for nearly an hour now, 15 miles per hour. It seems that they could put an end to this.
You think so. And again, each agency is different, and the lead agency is the agency that runs the show. So they may have a different policy than, say, the LAPD or the Torrance Police Department. You just don't know exactly how they're going to deal with it. They may know, as we're finding out, a little bit more information about the suspect or suspects, and they handle the situation accordingly. From us up above and from you down below watching the pictures, you would think it'd be an easy end. Just wait for an open roadway, try a little pit maneuver, spin them out, pull them out of the vehicle, and take them into custody. It's not that easy because you just, in certain situations, don't know what you're dealing with. Again, they may know the individual. They may know they're convicted felons. They may know that they've had situations with firearms before. And if that's the case, they're going to handle it a little differently. There's a tremendous police turnout for this pursuit. That is for sure from our vantage point. An LA County Sheriff's helicopter circling overhead. Bell Gardens Police down below. They're the lead agency. And again, we have the CHP down below and other agencies as well. As the pursuit makes its way into different communities, if those communities have their own police department, they will get involved as well. And all of that is coordinated through a dispatch center, which we're listening to. They're on one specific frequency, so they can all communicate, all be on the same page, how they handle the situation down below.
Here we go.
Oh.
And we saw that. We saw that coming. We saw that coming. Another pickup truck. And let's see if that car, well, it's still on. That's, wow, unbelievable. Through the red light, collided with that pickup truck. Now driving against traffic here. Let's continue to follow this vehicle, the U-Haul truck, allegedly stolen. and down to the rim. That rim is not even spinning now.
Wow,
so
it's sparking.
The maneuverability is going to be really challenging. We'll widen out a little bit because this could be a situation crossing California Street by the Walgreens down below here in Montebello, and now another intersection as well. Wow.
There's got to be tremendous noise now from the arcing and sparking now from the rim that is now moving, and now it's just dragging that one wheel. A location here in Montebello is where this happened, Rick?
That's exactly right. Montebello just entered the community of Montebello just a few blocks prior to that collision on Whittier Boulevard, heading towards the community of Whittier. Again, that rim's not even moving, leaving a scrape in the asphalt down behind. And that Bell Gardens police unit down below is keeping a safe distance. You can see officers are positioned ahead now right there to prevent an accident from happening. And they're able to do that because, like I've said, they have the upper hand and that the pursuit has slowed down considerably because that vehicle is disabled. First, by the successful use of the spike strip. Second, by that collision. Hopefully the driver and any occupants inside that pickup truck are okay. And fortunately, the pickup truck, that U-Haul, wasn't going 70, 80 miles an hour at the time and was going more like 15 or 20 miles an hour. Needless to say, that could still cause some damage and injury to the occupants of that other vehicle. That is something else. That rim is just grinding down there, heading eastbound on Whittier Boulevard, but she continues on here.
She's determined.
Proof there, as we said.
And this is a situation because you see the sparks. You got to worry about a spark igniting the gas tank. I mean, this could turn into something much more serious, at least for the female driver and the male occupant of this vehicle.
Well, clearly that's the farthest thing from her mind. She's not thinking logically.
Absolutely not. Possibly under the influence, as you guys have heard. Again, lots of scanner traffic about the individual, the suspect, just sliding along there. Eastbound here on Whittier Boulevard, coming out of Montebello, heading towards Whittier at this time.
The window is open
just
there.
A little bit.
You can see the passenger in there.
There's an LA County Sheriff's helicopter circling overhead, and not much traffic up ahead at this point. 15 miles an hour at best. People coming out of these mini malls here along Whittier Boulevard here. These palm trees lining the streets. This is a small town feel, this community of Montebello, and people are seeing this in their hometown community.
Well, let's hope that, can you see ahead at those intersections that cops are there so that another accident doesn't happen?
No. Yeah, some yes, some no. So they're trying to get up ahead of it, but again, they have to position themselves too in case they make a north or southbound run. But at this time, especially with that front right wheel in the condition that it is, it may not be very easy to make a left or right turn. Straight up might be the easiest way. Okay, we're going to try to get around this tree here the best we can. It looks like coming to a stop here on Whittier Boulevard, coming out of Montebello towards Whittier. And it appears that both doors are still shut at this time.
Well, we can see the windows
open. The car
open.
has come to a stop.
Hey, Rick, really quick, we want to say that this is, you're watching the Fox 11 News at noon, this police pursuit that seems to have come to a stop here for the better part of an hour, what's believed to be a stolen U-Haul. Now, one tire is completely blown out. It's been driving on the rim. We've seen at least one accident here in the city of Montebello, a slow-speed pursuit. A female driver believed to be possibly under the influence, and there you see the passenger believed to be a male driver. We're following this as it comes to a stop here for the first time. And
he's checking his backpack. He's getting his belongings together, but they can hear the police right now. They have bullhorns on side of the inside those vehicles, and you've heard it before. Even
it looks like he's putting his hands up, or at least
he is putting his hand up because they're telling him, hands where we can see them, hands where we can see them. Open the door, hands visible at all times. They're going to give him strict orders. Now they have to worry about this traffic over here. Traffic meaning people. You have officers with their guns drawn, people coming out of this car dealership to check out the scene down below. You don't want to get stuck in any crossfire. And again, when you're not giving up, you are making the situation even worse. The female driver and the male occupant in the passenger seat down below here. It looks like it looks like for a time he has his arm up, but now he's taking a swig of water, perhaps. This vehicle, this all started in Bell Gardens. Yeah, that's right, because allegedly, at least the driver is under the influence. A female driver going for the contents of inside his backpack, Looks like his hands all over the place.
And this looks
but
like it's
the
Whittier.
officers are clearly telling them what to do.
Whittier Boulevard and East 3rd Street is the location here, right next to some sort of a car dealership. Again, lots of people out and about there near the car dealership, and lots of movement inside this car. The guy taking swigs of water or liquid or something.
And Rick, what's the protocol here? I mean, typically when these things come to an end, that's when we do see the driver and passenger obey, get out of the car. Because this is when it gets dicey for us to show this live on television, because we don't know how they will respond to officers.
You're absolutely right, because then you see we have a great view of the passenger, the male passenger, and he's fidgeting around, grabbing it, on the floorboard there. It looks like he has a backpack or some sort of bag of some sort that he's been reaching into and out of. And officers, that's not what they want to see in a situation like this. Hands up. We want to see what you're doing. We want you to open up the vehicle door, and we want you to step out back to us with your hands up and listen to us and obey us. Otherwise, this could end in a bad way. It could end in an officer-involved shooting. Unfortunately, we've seen situations like that. Every single one that I've ever covered are situations where the suspect or suspects are given orders, specific orders to give up, and they don't. These two individuals have been given strict orders at this time what to do, and they are not listening to officers. And when that occurs, that opens the door for something to happen.
Well, who knows what this men and women are doing with each other inside. They're definitely not complying with the orders of the police officers inside. Maybe we can pull up some of the video from earlier in the pursuit where we saw that traffic accident, because there was at least one traffic collision almost basically T-boned at the intersection in Whittier Boulevard. So although it was a slow speed pursuit, it still was nonetheless very dangerous there, and we can only hope that the person involved in the accident that didn't see the truck coming is okay. But now officers do have their guns drawn here, and they're no doubt using their megaphones. They're trying to talk to the people inside, telling them to come out peacefully. A female driver and another male passenger inside, and they're not complying with police's orders.
They are not, and they've been given orders many times. You can see officers even at the dealership there. We'll pan the camera a little bit to the right and see if they push that crowd back. Not really. You could see individuals, the workers at that Chevy dealership here on Whittier Boulevard, backed off a little bit, but officers right there next to them in the front of those vehicles, in front of those Chevys, with guns drawn, right at the front of that cab there. Again, a female driver, a male passenger here, possibly under the influence, at least the driver. That's what we heard. This U-Haul truck allegedly stolen out of Bell Gardens. This pursuit made its way southbound down the 710 all the way into Compton towards Paramount, then back up to the north, up Eastern Avenue, back towards the 710 freeway, then through Montebello, and now eastbound on Whittier Boulevard. And that's where this pursuit, at least the vehicle portion of the pursuit, has come to an end. Not a Code 4 situation. Two suspects are still outstanding. They're not doing what they've been told at this time. They've been given strict orders a number of times, and they're choosing not to get out of the vehicle. They're staying inside the cab of that U-Haul pickup truck.
And at this point, we don't know if she decided to stop or if simply because the truck just gave up.
There could be it could be either way at this time. They may just have decided to bring it to an end, because look at that rim right there. I mean, it's down. It's no longer.
There's no longer shaved off
exactly.
Completely.
It's amazing that it was able to go so long. And look, he's still going inside that duffel bag. Officers have to expect the worst, fear the worst, that there could be a weapon in there. What is he doing? All right, well, he threw that out.
Okay.
There you go.
Maybe
maybe
this is the start of it here.
Bags and backpacks out. So maybe they've. Looks like something else, some small thing. Looks like she's discarding some things as well.
Looks like they're emptying the inside of this stolen U-Haul. No telling whether it's their stuff
but the
or someone
protocol
else.
is for them to get out. And if they get out and the officers see that they're holding something, then they'll tell the suspects to discard whatever they're holding. This is a bit unusual, and that they're going through all their belongings here. And what is he doing? Does he need to clear it for something and then throw it out? I mean, all this is going to be evidence. I mean, this is where this will end, likely. I mean, there's really no way.
Another backpack.
3rd and Whittier in the city of Montebello, where this police pursuit has now come to an end of a suspected stolen U-Haul truck, and now it's almost as if we're looking at some sort of a standoff here because these two individuals refused to go out. There were reports on the scanners, Rick, that the two were kind of getting a little amorous in the in the vehicle as it came to a stop here. So lots of activity inside here as
well,
it
could be a while before any of that happens again, clearly, if they're going to be taken into custody.
And as many of us know, if you are under the influence a little bit, you've had a couple of beverages. We don't know how many these individuals may have allegedly had. You don't always act in your right mind, some of us. And these individuals obviously are not doing what they're told. Bottom line. They ran from police. They ran because they thought they could get away. They stole a vehicle allegedly in the first place, needing a vehicle of this caliber, or maybe it was just a car of convenience that they saw in their neighborhood. And again, it's unclear if this was stolen from a U-Haul facility or actually from residents. Maybe somebody was moving something from point A to point B, and it was stolen at that location. We just don't know at this time. We saw at least one accident. We heard a very erratic driving early on in the pursuit down through the Bell Gardens area into Compton, driving on sidewalks, and then the car being disabled. And once it was disabled, the speeds were really reduced down to 15, 20 miles an hour. And there you go. You can see officers. BG, that's down for Bell Gardens. They're still the lead on this, and they have the guns drawn at the back of this U-Haul truck, and they've been given instructions to the female driver and the male passenger to get out. And I'm just surprised that the employees and perhaps the visitors of the Chevrolet deal are still allowed to be so close, right behind that officer.
It's just a matter of time before the police start cordoning off. If this goes on for any period of time before that area is cordoned off and they back people up here, because as you said, it was a slow speed pursuit, but there's still no telling, especially if these people are under the influence, and who even knows if they're armed or not, that this could be a much different situation. So you're really putting yourself at risk here. And
we brought up the point of how agencies handle this differently. And I've seen some agencies, this would have been over. They would have went up right to the cab of this pickup truck and pulled those occupants out. Bam, done. That's happened a number of times. There are certain agencies that do that. Others sit and wait it out. It just depends on the police agency that is the lead on the pursuit and the suspect or suspects that they're dealing with and what they potentially know about those individuals.
It's all about the intel that they have, because they could very well know that these two are armed.
You're exactly right, and that's why we may, be seeing the situation down below where they just aren't giving up. They throw the bags out, but that doesn't mean what was in that bag isn't right there on the floorboard of that U-Haul truck. Well, and that's what they have to assume.
When they started to throw the contents out, that was giving us hope that they were going to exit the vehicle, but that has yet to happen.
Nope, definitely erratic here, definitely unique here. This U-Haul truck being pursued across a handful of cities here across the basin, generally along the 710 freeway, primarily through the Bell Gardens area, the area where this pursuit first started. But now it's made its way to its farthest east point, which is in the eastern portion of Montebello, near Whittier here on Whittier Boulevard, near the Chevy dealership, right across the street from it.
Well, it would seemingly be just a matter of time before, police know at this point they seemingly have time on their side, although it's very possible the driver could just start driving off again and riding on that one rim. But no doubt in this area, you would think that the police would start to box them in and start closing some of these intersections here just to make sure that they have limited space to try and get away if that's what they decide to do at this point.
They have to be strategizing on how to handle this.
Absolutely. I mean, they're communicating. The captain is alerting the officers on how they're going to deal with it, if they're just going to wait it out at this point. And we've seen situations like this that go on for hours. We've seen freeways being shut down for hours at the termination of pursuits, where the vehicular portion of the pursuit stops, but the individual or individuals inside the vehicle just don't give up. They stay inside the car, and they believe they're armed, and traffic is at a standstill. And I'm going to try to get a little bit more intel right now, because we are hearing something from the LA County Sheriff's helicopter, so stand by for that.
Okay. All right. Let's just reset the scene here if you're just joining us now. This is what appears to be the end of it hasn't ended yet, but a pursuit of a stolen truck a U-Haul, a rented U-Haul, 2 individuals inside, a female driver and a male passenger, started in the city of Bell Gardens and went on the 710 freeway through several different cities. It was a slow-speed pursuit. Eventually, police used a spike strip, and if you look on the right front passenger tire, you will see...
Here's the accident that happened about 20 minutes ago, shortly before the truck stopped. Even though it is a slow-speed pursuit on 3rd in Montebello, this was actually on Whittier Boulevard, excuse me, going through a red light, that happened.
Yeah.
A collision with another pickup truck.
Well, finally, that sort of locked up the wheel there, and so the front right tire was riding on its wind and then rim, and then it came to a stop here on Whittier and East 3rd Street. Go ahead, Rick.
And we just got the information. This is straight from the LA County Sheriff's helicopter. The LA County Sheriff's Department and Bell Gardens Police Department are in touch with the sister of the driver of this allegedly stolen U-Haul pickup truck. They're communicating with her, and she has alerted the officers and the deputy sheriffs that both her, the female driver, and the male occupant both suffer from mental illness and possibly are under the influence at this time. That is why they're acting so erratically, and that's why the positions that we're seeing right now with the officers and why they're holding off. And we are also hearing now that they're going to bring in...
the scene.
That's right. They're going to bring in the Bearcat, that big armored vehicle that we see so often from the LA County Sheriff's Department. The SWAT team will be down here, and they're going to use that vehicle as well to bring this hopefully to a safe conclusion. So a little bit more information now that does make more sense in terms of what we're seeing.
You know, at the same time, what's really paramount here is the safety of the public there, and so we see a lot of people around, and even with someone who has a mental illness or is under substance abuse, you know, these definitely could be dangerous individuals. So police here, no doubt, are just taking their time here. They're trying to communicate. Perhaps they've spoken many times to the people inside. They're trying to get them to come out. Obviously, that has not happened yet, but
they have to handle this as delicately as possible.
Yeah, they're doing it in a methodical, like step-by-step way to make sure that the people out there are safe, to make sure the officers are safe as well, and hopefully this comes to a peaceful conclusion. But now it's almost like we have a standoff situation.
Yeah, and it could be a long-term one. This could be a very long-term one, guys, on Whittier Boulevard. Obviously, Whittier Boulevard completely shut down. You can use Beverly as an alternate. Both sides, east and westbound, coming in and out of Whittier, in and out of Montebello, will be closed for some time here as they deal with this situation. So hopefully it'll come to a peaceful end. The driver, the female driver, and the male occupant there will get out of the vehicle, hands up, and this will come to a peaceful end. But at this situation, we're going to be in a stalemate, long-term standoff possibly.
All right, so they're calling in a Bearcat here. So we talked about before what some of the strategy might be now that has come to a stop. So it will be somewhat of a standoff situation. And the Bearcat, obviously a heavily armed vehicle, and you can protect the people inside. But typically, as we've seen it being used before, they would really box this vehicle in so there's no way for them to really move and get out there. And so really time is on their side, and they can wait it out, because at some point the people with no food or water inside, they're going to have to try to figure out, you know, what their next move is, and they're going to have to eventually get out.
And they are pushing people back to a safer distance here. We are seeing that by officers, people being pushed back half a block or so. And they may bring in a crisis negotiator as well, being that there is time now. They do have time on their side. We've seen that in the past as well, to try to get these two individuals to safely surrender and bring this to a peaceful conclusion.
Sure.
But this, again, could be a long-term situation. LA County Sheriff's helicopter circling overhead. And this is a situation, too, and this has been very controversial. We saw one of the first drones being deployed by a law enforcement agency. That was the Redondo Beach Police Department at the termination of a pursuit that did turn into a situation like this, where the driver just didn't want to give up. His car was disabled, spun out off the road, and he still didn't want to give up. And they brought in the drone, and they got that drone right up against the windshield of that vehicle and were able to survey the vehicle enough so that they felt that they could go in and grab that guy and not have to worry about him having a weapon at that point and opening fire. Well, there's a K-9 unit there now as well. So this would be a situation where a drone would be useful.
The question becomes, is there a cell phone inside? Do they have a cell phone?
Yeah.
Because I would imagine that police would like to get the sister on the phone with her to try and talk her into listening to police and obeying and getting out of the vehicle.
I'm sure if there is communication available inside the cab of that U-Haul, I'm sure that they've tried that already, because whenever you have a suspect who's led police on pursuits like this, sometimes hearing from a relative, a spouse, a mother, a father, talking some common sense into them sometimes does help bring situations like this to a peaceful conclusion. So if that is the case, and there is a cell phone inside this vehicle, I'm sure that has been discussed, if not already happened at this point.
By the way, kind of ironic, this is a GMC Chevy Silverado that we're looking at right here, and it just so happens to stop in front of that Chevy Montebello dealership, right in front of
this one. Not for sale.
Not for sale.
It's
and not for
going to need a little bit of work.
Right.
Yeah. And you see the 1995, these rentals are so popular. And again, it's unclear where this vehicle was allegedly stolen from. We know it was in Bell Gardens, in the community of Bell Gardens. That's why Bell Gardens is the lead agency. And you see their police units right up against the back end of this pickup truck. But whether or not it was stolen just from a residential area, commercial area, or from a U-Haul facility, we just don't know at this time. All we know now is from the LA County Sheriff's Department. We definitely know there's a female driver, a male occupant, both possibly with some sort of mental illness, and both possibly under the influence. And communication has been made with the female driver's sister. That's all we know. We know that Bearcat, an armored vehicle on the way, a special weapons team on the way here to deal with this, to box that vehicle in perhaps, to get right up against it and hopefully force these two out, but force them out in a peaceful way.
And say again, Rick, that you had heard that the female passenger, or at least someone inside, had been in communication with her own sister, so she has some sort of communication with them. They have a cell phone inside.
For the LA County Sheriff's Department.
They are talking to somebody.
The Sheriff's Department was talking to the driver's sister. It's unclear if there's been any communication made between either of the occupants, the female driver, the male occupant, and anybody on the outside. That's unclear at this time, but we do know, obviously, the sister of the driver of this vehicle knew that this car was stolen, because you can't just automatically assume that your sibling's driving this vehicle unless she was able to get just close enough of a picture, a media picture, to determine such. So she knew that this vehicle was allegedly stolen by her sister, and then gave that information to the Bell Gardens Police Department and the LA County Sheriff's Department.
So here we are waiting for the Bearcat. In the meantime, they brought the canines out.
Yeah, just as a precaution at this time, and again, they're taking their time. They're dealing with this in such a way now that they do know a little bit more about the occupants, and that's what we said earlier. Each situation is handled differently. We see agencies handle things differently, and regardless of if they know who they're dealing with, sometimes agencies act with more force. They go after it. These people have already endangered the public, and they want to bring this to an end and bring these a suspect or suspects into custody. And we've seen that often. We've seen situations like this too, where they know a little bit more information about the individuals, and they're going to handle it more gingerly. And that's what we have here in front of the Chevy dealer in Montebello, here on Whittier Boulevard. Whittier Boulevard, east and westbound, completely shut down here.
So I count 9 police cars out there, vehicles. Have more shown up to the scene since this came to a stop here?
Yeah, it looks like it, and we just got a little bit more information. The passenger on parole for stealing another vehicle. So there you go. We know a little bit more. So a felon, obviously, and stole another vehicle here, or was an accomplice to grand theft auto here in the community of Montebello.
All right. Well, police really doing everything by the book here, step by step. The speed of this pursuit really led them to take a different tact, and that would be just to pull back a little bit and let this pursuit play out. But we saw this pursuit go through the 710 freeway in several different cities, finally ending here in Montebello. And we were saying all along that just because it was a slow-speed pursuit didn't mean that it was not a dangerous pursuit. And then we certainly saw what happened there when the driver of this vehicle, a female driver of a stolen U-Haul, and you see it right here as it goes through an intersection, actually right now, after it got into a collision on Whittier Boulevard. You see the right front tire, after going through some spike strips, was completely out, and then it was on its rim and completely seized up. So to the point where it was just pretty much shaving off the rim down.
It was
down
dramatic.
to like 3/4 of the rim before it finally came to a stop on Whittier Boulevard and 3rd, right in front of a car dealership. So some erratic behavior from the driver, but we now know, and here's the collision here. Again, just broadsided that the stolen SUV, but the driver kept going. And we're now getting a little bit of a better picture of the people inside, a female passenger and, I'm sorry, a female driver and a male passenger. We both believe that through calls from the driver's sister that they are mentally
suffer from
sort of a mental illness and are possibly under the influence of something, which could explain some of their erratic behavior here. But we have seen them move inside. Reports that they were perhaps kissing each other at some point during this now what appears to be a standoff, and throwing some items that were inside the vehicle outside. But police now have time on their side, and now we're just waiting for the Bearcat to come in, because we're really looking at a standoff situation here at Whittier Boulevard.
And the longer that they don't give up, again, the mentality of some of these individuals. We do now know that the male passenger is on parole for auto theft. So no question, he's going back to jail. He's going back to jail. As a parolee, you have to abide by very strict rules, and one of which is not to be a repeater in your crime. And certainly he's been an accomplice to that. So he's going back to jail. She's racked up a number of violations, including allegedly stealing this vehicle. So both, they're waiting it out. And again, we've heard that possibly both are suffering from some sort of mental illness, maybe under the influence as well. All of that coming into play here. And they're choosing just to stay inside that cab and out of handcuffs at this point.
So this pursuit started more than an hour ago. Here we are 60-plus minutes later, and you got to wonder how long this is going to go on for.
Here comes the armored vehicle. So, that's such a good question, Marla and Bob, in that you see a situation like this, and then you assume it's going to be this long-term standoff, and then for whatever reason, the individuals just open the door and they give themselves up.
Yeah.
Or pursuits too. They're running down the street at 80, 90 miles an hour, making wide turns, and all of a sudden they pull up to the curb and open the door with their hands up and say, "I give up." We've seen, so many different situations, and pursuits are on the rise as well. We're not covering more of them. There are more of them. Yes, we're covering more of them because there are more of them. We definitely saw an uptick last year, some 20% increase year to year, at least with LAPD. Other agencies saw an uptick as well. Officers surrounding this, they've pushed the general public back, including the employees and any visitors of the Montebello Chevrolet here on the corner of Whittier and 3rd.
Now, is that Bearcat making his way around?
Exactly. He's gonna make his way to the south and then approach the vehicle from the east side, and it's coming up the street right now, 2 blocks away, coming northbound up towards Whittier Boulevard here. It'll come into frame shortly.
Now,
and again, it's an intimidating factor too sometimes for the suspects when they see a vehicle like that parked right in front of their car with guns drawn. They're not going anywhere. They could sit it out as long as they want, but there's going to come a point where they get hungry, they get tired, they may need to use the restroom, and they just say, enough of this. And that's a situation that we've seen many of times. So anything that they can do to try to create an intimidation factor to create a safe haven for the public, a perimeter, if you will, around the situation down below. If need be, bring in crisis negotiators to talk them out of it. Bring in a relative if they haven't already, if there is some sort of communication going on, if there is a cell phone in use inside that U-Haul pickup truck allegedly stolen in Bell Gardens, and a family member, because we do know from the LA County Sheriff's helicopter that's circling overhead that communication was made between the sister of the alleged stolen vehicle suspect down below and that communication essentially gave them more information.
Now, because we're not there, it seems like a very calm scene, but we have to remember guns are drawn. It's still very tense down there.
That's exactly right. Again, you don't know what you're dealing with, and mental illness is such a serious situation, and when somebody is compromised and not in the right frame of mind, and if you do mix in alcohol or drugs, which may be the case, we don't know. A lot of this is just coming in secondhand. Then you're dealing with even more erratic individuals who may still possibly be armed. I mean, you have a parolee in there who's already stolen at least one vehicle in the past, and in doing so, you may need a weapon. So it's very possible that they could be armed.
And what is the strategy of the Bearcat? You bring that in, it's going to come around the corner, face it head on?
Face it head on, again, intimidating the driver and the passenger of the vehicle, guns drawn, essentially creating more of that perimeter, officers behind, officers in the front, making sure that vehicle doesn't, we believe it's disabled, but who knows? It may still have a little oomph into it. So anything to stop this in the spot that it's at, keep it there and keep it safe and set a line around it, keeping the public safe and keeping those two suspects in that containment area, and then just waiting it out. And part of that is bringing in an armored vehicle.
How quickly does that Bearcat, that armored vehicle, move?
I mean, they're pretty swift. We're going to try to get a view of where it actually ended up, because it was coming up the street.
That's
here.
why I'm asking, because it seems like it's taken.
Pulled over to the side here,
okay.
And maybe perhaps it still needs to be. The crew on board there, the officers, the specially trained officers, need a little bit more of a briefing, intel on how they're going to handle it. They can't just drive up a rogue and set up shop how they feel that they want to. I mean, they're being briefed. Perhaps they weren't given enough information on the way, so they pulled off to the side here, and they're waiting for further instructions. So they're just a block or so away from the pickup truck down below. And they're on the move now, so we'll see what happens here. And some of it may have been traffic, but he's being led. That's a police or SWAT vehicle as well, that SUV there in front of the armored vehicle.
All right, so this is just a matter of time now before we see the Bearcat really coming into the picture here, getting really close up to this vehicle that has not moved for the better part of over a half hour now, perhaps 45 minutes or so, when this suspected stolen U-Haul truck came to a stop. But the Bearcat will no doubt just box that vehicle in, so there really will be very little room for the vehicle to go. At this point, we do believe, I mean, there's no reason to believe that they aren't able to really take off here. So it'll be interesting to see what they might do once they get the Bearcat into view here. But
the problem doesn't seem to be if the vehicle is going to take off or not. It's getting those two out.
Oh, here comes the doors. The door just opened here.
Okay.
And she's been fidgeting around. Well, maybe that's it. See, this is a situation that we've seen so many times in the past for whatever reason.
Okay, her hands are
one
up.
hand out to the left, but it still looks like she needs to get something there in the cab. And she's still sitting there. And maybe no, it looks like she's being restrained, possibly by her male occupant.
Oh.
I can't. Your monitors down there, I know, are much larger than mine, but he's got he's got his arm around her.
Oh, so she's
right?
trying. Yes,
he's got his arm around her neck.
She's trying to get out. That's a bear hug embrace.
He's embracing
her. So it looks
her.
like she wants to give up. Yeah,
she wants to give up,
something
and it
else
looks
to
like
see.
he doesn't want her. He's trying to prevent her from going. I mean, we can only guess that that's what's going on.
If you love her, set her free. Come on. And it looks like that's what he's going to do.
If you love her, set her free.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they continue he continues to wrestle her a little bit. She looks like she was wiping.
She's got her arms out,
wiping her face.
Yes.
She's talking to the officers now.
Again, we know a lot more about these two individuals, and she's speaking to him. He's trying to pull her back in.
At this point, I would.
And that creates an even more dramatic situation.
Right.
So I mean, it looks like it doesn't look like he's doing anything too forceful. I think he's just trying to embrace her and say, no, don't go. It doesn't look like he's trying to harm her.
Right.
I would
But,
think that
she's
officers
trying
would
to
come
get out.
around to his side while he
At
has
this
his
point,
attention.
yeah. Okay,
Yes,
now she's
okay.
out. Now he's got his hands out too.
Okay.
And she's going to do what she's told, exactly what she's told. And here comes the Bearcat on cue, and she's going no.
Oh.
And again, they may, again, we know a little bit more about these two. She's trying to keep her hands up, the officers,
I think she
but then
just
trying to
struck
pushing
him.
them away.
I think she just struck him because now he's grabbing her. So this is very
Okay, well,
unorthodox here.
Yeah, here we go.
And this is.
And they're both hands up. Yeah. Oh, he was just
Well,
tased.
he's
He was just
tased.
tased.
Yeah, and
He's
again,
been tased.
and again, and
Just to
again.
be safe. Yeah.
Okay, and she goes
At
down
least
as well.
3 times he was tased.
I think she was. He was for sure, right? But I think it was
Right.
multiple times. I think you're right on that, Marla.
Right. Not
So
her.
he was tased, and bottom line, both are in custody now. Both are being handcuffed. K-9 unit standing by. Bell Gardens.
Well, the
Deputies
Bearcat
from the LA
did the
County
job.
Sheriff's Department.
In terms
Certainly
of
did.
intimidation.
That's right. That was a call I made, and that once you see something like that, and it's very possible that she was wanting to give up. That was a different perspective that we just saw there. We saw him fidgeting around, throwing items outside the vehicle, and sure enough, she wanted to give up, and hopefully she's in okay shape at this time. Although she led police on a high-speed pursuit, endangering the public, colliding with another pickup truck, possibly injuring the occupants of that vehicle.
Well, they shot him
obviously,
with that taser at pretty much point-blank range, and just moments before that shot, as we get a closer look at that, they were
it's
essentially
non-lethal
in an
force.
embrace.
It's non-lethal force, and we don't know exactly. We saw the picture, obviously, but you have to understand that the suspects were being told specifically what to do, and she was trying, and he wasn't, and he was more of a threat at that point, and
So
they felt the need.
She had her hands on her head. He had her locked in an embrace. They were telling him to step aside, to also get away from her. And as they pulled up to her, he began to try to kiss her and continued to kiss her as the officers approached, within just feet away. And then it was at that point that the officer was able to deploy the taser there and take the guy down. That's what kind of ended
And
the
he's
final,
walking
the
now.
final
He's
kiss
up,
and final embrace.
Exactly, and he's up and walking now. So again, it stuns you. It's a shock. There's no question.
It's a shock.
Whether or not
no doubt.
he'll need any type of medical attention, that's unclear. If fire will have to roll up and check him out, being that non-lethal, that taser was employed on him. So both suspects in custody. Again, this U-Haul truck pursuit allegedly stolen out of Bell Gardens. Bell Gardens, the lead agency. LA County Sheriff's Department got in on it. They were tracking it from above. We got the intel about the suspects, the 2 suspects, and that male who was tasered, allegedly, at least what we were given, is a parolee out after stealing another vehicle.
Well, he's going back to jail.
Let me
He
tell
certainly
you,
is. He's going back to jail, and she is too, and they're not going to be able to share the same cell.
No. That's love, though. The guy stayed with her to the very end.
Yeah.
To no avail, though. I mean, well, this is the end of this pursuit of a suspected stolen U-Haul truck that ended here in Montebello in front of this car dealership on Whittier and 3rd. Both suspects now in custody. One traffic collision. We can only hope that the person is okay involved in that traffic collision. We're going to
Take a short break at
break.
12:34, and we'll come back with
More news.
more news.
but I just wonder if they're going to bring in paramedics. I don't see anybody rolling up. You know, this could have been like long. No, he's going to be loaded. Taking his picture. Is he bailing? 5's out here. All right. Skyfox News Base, what would you like us to do here? We got about 25 minutes left. If we stay much longer, we'll probably have to go to a different airport to refuel. Or the last helicopter here. Did you hear what you said? Didn't copy that, base. Copy that, thank you. Okay. Yep. That's horrible. That story. Oh, there's video of it. Wow. Well, hey, that's manslaughter. You know, he's going to jail. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you could get second-degree murder, but you can get manslaughter. But you're going to do 15 years, right? Yeah.